Color can be all sorts of things, and colors can be even different things that could be possibly very interesting. But the colors that are very common, why would we be talking about colors? Now, obviously, I have a monitor that, basically can change colors through the common, I should say, the three colors that use the optical illusion. Now, you may know, if you don't know, then I'll explain how you see monitors just like I can see myself. And what is there's teeny tiny three colors. Now, these three colors are very tiny. You can't see them, but if you look in very close or put water on it, you could see it. You will see it. But we're not talking about that. There's also other colors that we can't see as a human, but we can see them on video or a camera. That is infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, etc. Except for turtle's vision, because we can't see that because there's some type of color that we can't see. And link would be it'd be cool if we could, but we can't. So the reason why I'm trying to tell or describe is because of how it's really interesting that how it really does change any person things that you see. Um, Now it's really hard to wrap around your head that we could see these colors, but despite we can see these colors, there's also other creatures that cannot see what we see. For example, your everyday house cat or everyday dog don't have that good eyesight. And the reason for this, I personally don't know. It's probably because they mostly usually use their nose and their ears and partially their vision. That's my explanation. Possibly my mom knows because she's a vet tech. She used to be, but in the meantime, I honestly don't know. But canines in any of the traditional things, they only would use multiple things for color. Now, blue, red, and green are all these colors to use for optical illusion. Now, obviously, if you've seen the original 1950s War of the Worlds, which I actually bought on YouTube, and apparently, and stuff, and then before, I there's a one scene that there's two of the scenes that are identical to the War of the Worlds from the 21st century. The one that's in the original one actually had three types of lights: blue, red, and green. And that these three objects, I should say colors, really cool how they described it. The part with the Martians. Now, if you look at the Martians on there, they have their eyes like that. Makes me kind of laugh. But despite, they probably see the opposite instead, but when they viewed it in, it was like, that, and it actually showed the colors, but it wasn't like optical illusion colors. It was just using three colors and this having one screen. That's why when computers advanced, it used to be, I'm going to try to wrap my head around, those big monitors, those big honking monitors. You know what I'm talking about. If you don't know, if you're probably born after that, you probably don't know. You may see from old videos, or should say old videos or films. You might see that. If you were born from the 21st century, like me from 2001, you most likely, or I have, would seen this. If you were born in 2010, you mostly not, unless if your school only has a limited amount of budget and they only have one type of computer that was from 2007, or I should say from Windows XP or something like that. Now these days it's like Windows 10, but I only use 2007 because it's more reliable. I don't know. It's because it's just that my computer motherboard and stuff does not like that. It doesn't like to be upgraded, and it just goes extremely bad, and that's why it crashed in 2016, and it erased all of the things, which was incredible because it usually is stored on a drive. If it was a CD, no, if it was like a tape, I don't know, but we're talking about colors, right? Colors. Now, on spacecraft, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of science, spaceship things. You may not like that, but it's true. A lot of spacecraft would use infrared or ultraviolet X-rays. X-rays usually well, for looking for anything that is blocking. For example, now if you see like a pulsar or a black hole, it makes a lot of noise, and it makes a I meant like noises, wavelengths, or I should say background, noise and all that stuff. And you need an X-ray, a big X-ray. Now, Hubble, not that I know of, has a limited amount of X-ray, or it's basically only visible that you can see. I think I'm probably wrong about the Hubble Space Telescope, and that thing is huge. Sadly, it's running out of reaction wheels that make it turn around. It only has a limited amount of time until, yeah, it's sad. But hopefully, we can repair it with something. I mean, James Webb. Oh God, I don't like that thing's kind of still, but I mean, if it's a big piece of hardware and if it has gold on it, it should be able to see it. But it would be very kind of interesting if it dies. We need a backup in case of James Webb wasting all that time and money and it just fails on launch, explodes. What are you gonna do if you have a super telescope? All of that money is just wasted away and crumbled down. Now, to telescopes, Voyager 1 and 2 had, their cameras, and there were all sorts of them. I believe that gold part was supposed to be different colors of length to allow it to. I don't know, but it had something like that on that big arm that's located there. The other arm is basically I should say a gravity detector, or I should say a boom that basically detects gravity waves or something like that. Graviton, whatever. I forgot what it's called, but Voyager 1 and 2 had these two cameras, mounted on them. Now, if you want the best X-ray camera, you want to go to the Candera, or I should say Camera Big Telescope, which is launched on the space shuttle. And it's the largest X-ray orbiting telescope. It's actually my favorite, even though it's just the X-ray, and it's very different because there's no aperture. I don't know much about X-ray cameras or anything. All I know is it's just a big honking thing. It's long, so I'm guessing it uses optics. Now, if it's X-ray, it should use radiation. Well, of course, if it's like a point, maybe because I don't know. I only researched the parts of it. That's kind of weird that I don't know how it works, or even how it functions. I do know how the Hubble Space Telescope moves around and uses powerful optics that allow it to see visible light. Now, visible light is the light that you see, and if you look at it, it's very. If you look at a galaxy or nebula, like the Orion Nebula, for instance, you can see it pretty good, but there's some things that are there that you can't see. Now, if you put it infrared and X-ray and all together, you have a full picture. And the only way to see radiation from lobes, which are located around a big galaxy, for existence, like Andromeda or all that stuff, that have a big, massive black hole. Sometimes they create these giant, just big, huge, gamma ray bursts, and they just go to the poles of the black hole, and it just shoots out like a bullet, like faster than light speed. And if it hit any object, it just goes havoc on it. Thankfully, it doesn't go close to us, but anytime, it's like but that's how you detect stuff. Now, if you have a camera, all right, you took a picture of the sky. Oh my God, it's beautiful. There are some things that are out there that you can't see. However, this also is actually a night vision. I think it's ultraviolet, or is it ultra? I think it's ultraviolet or infrared. I think it's infrared because infrared detects heat. Now, your body is literally. The entire body is littered with infrared. This guy put himself in a plastic black bag, basically negative, and you could see through it. Yes, or something like that. I'm probably wrong in some stuff, so yeah, and you could see through it. Now, if you think that this is possibly like a X-ray vision, sort of, but because the only way to see someone's body up close is, your common X-ray or CAT scan or MRI, which I think I did this CAT scan. I didn't think I did MRI. That thing that spins around. It's a very small cylinder. You move around it, which I think it's a CAT scan or MRI. I forgot. But my mom went a ton of times. Now, X-ray is a big machine that hovers above you. It only would take one picture. That's what I used to do. I remember I had an injury on my foot or something, and they lined it up. I wore a heavy vest. At the time, I was too little. Um, but yeah, it rotates around and it basically, but of course the one of them uses electric instead of radiation, or I should say magnetism. Not and kind of there's some movies out there that do kind of make a little hilarious thing that if you turn it on, it's basically like a magnet. Anything metal in this, it's gone. Like the camera, maybe it might be some little metals in there, like that camera I'm using, the screen, anything that's metal or anything that is like a keyboard, which there has to be some metal because like plating, like a computer, definitely made out of metal. It's gone. It's get like, and the only way to titanium, I don't think. Maybe a good way to test out titanium. Now, of course, I do have magnets, I think. And if I did to that, maybe I could, titanium, I think it's a little bit. Maybe they put like a metal and then titanium mixture, maybe. Hey, I am not a welder or anything like that, so I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing. You probably don't know either, but but to be honest with you, colors in a wavelength have basically is really interesting the way you see things. Now to use all of them. Now I think I have seen using all of the colors to see a galaxy. And you can see that. So yeah, putting all of them together will make a full image of the object, allowing you to see all the features. And then the only problem is that there's one problem. There's one feature. Now, if you heard of dark matter and dark energy, that's a big deal because it seems like they every now and then heard about it because it seems like it's like one of those things that are just out there. It's random astronomy, like black holes. Everybody heard of a black hole, or not even a neutron star. I asked a teacher at school, you ever heard of a neutron star? She was like, not that I know of. And if you heard of a black hole, she said, yeah. So it's like a coverage of most of the things that a person would know because it seems like there's a length of astronomy that people understand. And what makes me to add that into the funniness, let's go back in I think 1990s or 2000 or somewhere around there, and a city I forgot what I think was or somewhere around the United States, I think there was a blackout, and then there were people complaining about there was glowing clouds up there. Oh no! Yeah, and they were like, "That's the Milky Way," and they're like, "What's the Milky Way?" or something like that. And people call the police. And then I bet they were like stupid. They're like, it's called a Milky Way. I mean, pretty much a lot of people would know that. Have you noticed that we live? That's how many people don't know about astronomy or where you live. Like, you go to Earth, like people might, know that you're on Earth, but, be like, oh, it's like, there's sun and there's, what's it called? Venus? No, it's Mercury. Oh, Venus? Jupiter? No, that one is Venus. Oh, I think that was Mars. No, that's us, Earth. And see, or something like that. That's just a random thing, but it's very silly to think about that because, I mean, you guys, obviously don't like it, but to me, I think it's kind of hilarious that we live in a world. Now, to anybody that is offended, that has a religion that is different, I am sorry, and I am atheist, so I really don't know about anything only about Greek mythology, about all the planets are named after them, so that basically simplifies things, to it's kind of cool, I mean, Jupiter, big, even though it just kind of destroys you, or I mean, of course Venus is like it's supposed to be the goddess of love, and it turns out to be like very angry. She's quote unquote angry Venus because it's like 900 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know much about Mercury, but Pluto is supposed to be a dark world in Greek mythology. And it turns out after like all those years, and it's like in 2015, it's amazing. It has a heart on it. I mean, come on, maybe it's in love with us. Maybe since it's all alone out there, it was discovered very early, alone with its Chiron and annoyed by Chiron because it pulls on it. You know, you hate that feeling when someone's pulling on you or something, or maybe you feel like there's something behind you. I always thought there was a invisible, black person. I'm no, not like that, or not. That's not like what I meant. I meant like a black, figure, or should say, just pure black, like a shadow. Okay, calm down, people, calm down. It's not racism. It's just a black shadow. There's a difference. My brain wasn't thinking. Okay, calm down. All right, good, good from here. Okay, good. Um, so yeah, or a black figure or a shadow, quote unquote shadow on behind me, and thinking that it's somebody behind me. But that was when I was young. You know, yeah. In fact, I thought when I was at school, I was like, someone's behind me, and I look back and, because, maybe the figure is like it tries to follow my field of view, preventing me to see it, I mean, it's kind of silly, but of course, and I guess I got, after that, I got older, but still, I kind of have a little bit nightmares of dinosaurs roaming around. Because dinosaurs. When I see a dinosaur on any occasion, scare the life out of me. It just, I don't know, the figure of that just give me the creeps to thinking that they're around here. Now, of course, Jurassic Park is different of the features of CG. That's different. It's the only way. It's the only thing that's scary. That there's a documentary thinking that the dinosaurs are ghosts and they roam around. Oh, that freaked me out. And still today, it freaks me out. And I know there's no such thing as ghosts. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but it's just a thing that, I guess maybe it's the autism thing, but to me, oh my God, it's scary. I mean, to come and think about it, I mean, looking at the, so yeah, light, colors and stuff. Yeah. So it's like blue, I mean, that's really interesting of how we figure this out. I wonder what was the first monitor. I probably will look that up. Hmm. I wonder. Well, yeah, that's a good question. The first visual monitor. Now, there's all sorts of monitors. I mean, the term monitor. A term monitor is somebody that. Well, people years ago, a computer. Now I know this. The term computer came from a girl or some female that literally does all the math and stuff. She's called a computer. Like NASA, like United States Air Force, and they have them, that. Actually, it used to be United States. Ow, 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 a little cramp. And I turn my hand at United States Air Force, and then it was NASA, and then there was JPL, and then there was Lockheed Martin. Of course, Orbit TK, SpaceX. Actually, SpaceX is a private company. Orbit TK is not. Well, no, it is a private company. What am I thinking? NASA is not technically not a company. It's actually a government funding company. Or well, technically, it's actually part of the United States Air Force, which means that it is part of. So basically, it's government owned, or I should say, government, whatever. Basically, they put money in there, depending on the president, or I should say, if politicians, like, this looks like a good idea. We should go to the moon. And Jim Bridenstine's like, yeah, I told you guys we should be on the moon already. And of course they like accept it all, and then goes to the president like Obama. He's like, nope, and he just signs it, nope, or something like that. And and it's over. Constellation program is gone, and it's just terrible that happened. We would, of course, conspiracy theorists would have been calmed down. I guess they'll start again once maybe about 20 years later again, and people think about the moon is with the moon fake with moon landing. Yes, we would have been on the moon if it haven't been him. Of course, if it was Trump, he probably accepted. If it was, John F. Kennedy, yeah. But of course, it was years ago. But we haven't had a manned mission at about 30 or 20 or or about 50, yeah, 50 years or so, or something like that. That is a long time. I was only born on January 15th, 2001, and the whole entire lifetime. If you go on Wikipedia, you can actually see every single, I should say, attempted launch to go to the moon, failures, successes, and even flybys or if you gravity assist. Just go on Wikipedia. I actually looked on there. I'm like, wow. I'm like, which one is the one? Of course, I personally do know that Luna 2 did impact the surface of the moon, which is that basically is technically the first ever we basically impacted the moon. But of course, that was the Soviets. I'm not saying Russians because that was actually a different country back then, and I like to do that because to tell people that that was before the you know I don't know what happened. Basically, this is like, oh no, and then of course the Soviet Union just like, and it just turned into Russia. People started screaming, crazy. The burning flag. I have no idea. I guess it was all sorts of things. I guess maybe it was just everything happened at the same time, and it just destroyed the country. And like, oh, but I just randomly pick a number. I have no idea. But to be honest with you, if you're you know, anything like that. But yeah, I feel like someone's watching me. But of course, it's kind of weird how it is. Yes, I um. So the basics of that is, but the funny thing is that we can't visually see things, and we can't see. So that's why we have ultraviolet. I have no idea who even invented it. And in fact, now to come to think about it, this topic seems to be like an all-in-one because pretty much a lot of people know about how monitors work of to amplify. The monitors would used to be like freaking huge computers, and now it goes all the way down to like what's like here, which is basically let me feel it, about maybe like half and less of an inch. I'm not gonna say meters. I'm not gonna say millimeters because, well, of course, I think I need to say that because technically, if you had a ruler and it does go to the tiniest bit of, I should say, tiny inches. Now, of course, once it goes smaller, it goes to metric immediately once you go smaller, I think. But metric is more simpler, and then you get inches, which is just quicker. Um, but of course, millimeters and meters per second. I always, when I heard something like that, I always make fun because it's like when you look at kilometers wide, it's about three, like it's 10 kilometers wide. That's like pretty big. And then I'm like, wait, what is it? Three? I don't know. 10 miles? No, it's not. It's like I honestly don't know how far is 10 or 15 or even 1 kilometer. All I know is how to use 1 mile. 1 mile per second. Okay, has a British accent again. 1 mile per second is about 1 mile wide. It's about 1 feet wide, and it's about 3 inches tall. That's kind of weird object to think about it. If you look at it, what am I even doing? Back to measurements, Soviets, and then you got the we were talking about the moon or this it's just a bunch of it. That explains why you don't mostly like these, and I'm really embarrassed about this. So I'm gonna think about maybe I should start using this, but of course sometimes I'm lazy and I usually don't use this when I'm using a gameplay, or I should say I am really lazy. I'm not but it's so simple. All you have to do is just plug it in, and it's fine. I really need to shave really bad. Now, basically, you probably didn't even learn anything. Basically, this was actually not a learning thing, but maybe just a device thing that I know, or maybe it would teach you something to know if you're interested. But yeah, to make me happy, read the description below. And I appreciate that have I don't need your support at all. I really don't need any support because when people out there in the world say support me on Patreon, whatever the hell it's called, I just go no, no. No matter what you're my consciousness, no in O. Coach says in Left 4 Dead 2. In O. So yeah, then of course I'm like, oh, whatever. And it always goes back down to I don't need any more money. I already got money. So yeah, girl, that's how I got all this stuff. Aren't you kidding? Yeah, but of course, everybody doesn't need anything. Now, of course, if you really like to, um, I'm just wanting to tell you that, okay, maybe this topic is going kind of a bit wonky, and despite maybe, let's just keep going and let's just relax. Okay, I think we are over. Yeah, I'll see you guys. No! In the next, no, live stream.